She says, last night I dreamt that I was that I was getting ready for a flight and I was disorganized and I misjudged the time and I got stuck in traffic. And at one point in this dream, I finally found my itinerary as I was stuck, and I realized that the flight was leaving right that minute. So I looked up at the sky and I said, bye-bye, plane. And while I was journaling, by the way, I have to say that's such a common dream that I've had that dream in different versions so many times myself that I think it's one of the most common dreams that humans have about like missing a plane connection or a travel connection. So she says, I got to thinking about free will versus prarabdha karma. And from what I understand about astrology, it can be seen as a map, and that we have aspects in our chart. Some are fortunate and easy, and others are challenges, but none of it is a given. I mean, is it up to us to master our charts, or is that the prarabdha karma? So she say, this dream helped me see that I have the opportunity to really own my power and direct my life on a whole new level. So is it possible for me to miss out, i.e. miss the plane, because I'm not living out the highest aspect of my chart? Is that what free will is? Or is it just that my prarabdha karma is kicking in? You know, I wanted to go to this for a minute because all right. You know, when I tell you how I see this, this is how I personally see it, and it certainly doesn't mean it's how you need to see it. But for me, and I really say this from all those 30 years of doing all those thousands of charts, something fundamentally changed in my life in the hugest way possible when I handed my entire chart to the divine. And I stopped worrying about, am I actualizing all the potential of my chart and my planets and my T-squares and my, you know, triangles. And, you know, we talk about that so much here, that place of the identification with the small self. That place of, you know, I am my chart, I am this, I am that. And it's, to be honest, one of the things that made me stop giving readings, besides, you know, that once you do something for 30 years, it's time to do something else, is that I became so much more interested in what happens once you know your chart, yes, but then you're offering your whole life to something that's so much vaster than that chart. Because otherwise, for me, it became very, very limited. Like, well, is it free will? Is it karma? Is it destiny? Is it not? At some point, I didn't care anymore. I just knew I wanted God to own my life. And as all these actions became offered, then, you know, ironically, that's why I loved your letter, because you're telling this dream that I've had off and on, you know, for years. And I remember there was a turning point where I had that dream, and I was in an airport, and I was running to try to catch the plane, and all of a sudden, in the dream, I said, you know, if I need to be on that plane, God will make it stop. And then I got up to the desk, and sure enough, the plane had been delayed, and I walked right on. And to me, you know, that was it was part of this whole turning point of all that efforting and the mind, oh, will I do it? Won't I do it? Will I become awakened? Won't I? Will I make it? Will I come into my power? Will I become, you know, all the things that people just torture themselves over at astrological conferences, you know. trying to look at that chart. Will it happen? Won't it happen? What, am I going to miss the boat? Am I not? It all gets solved when the awakening begins to occur that says everything is offered to the divine for the highest outcome this lifetime. And honestly, I mean that even on the level of awakening, that I was in groups where people were just, will I wake up? Won't I? I'm working so hard. I'm meditating so hard, trying. And at some point, it all just became like, oh, this great force of love knows everything that needs to occur for the highest attainment of the soul once it's all invited in. So I would say, my boyfriend actually said this to me this week, funny enough. He said, oh, what if the ultimate free will was inviting in the divine? What if that's the true free will? That the divine can't come in to lead the life to its highest expression until it's invited. That is, for whatever reason, the way the game is played. Without that invitation, the closure, it's like a closed circuit. The ego just keeps going round and round and round and round with all of its questions and diversions. At some point, it's like a breaking point happens. Sometimes the mind just exhausts itself. And then that's the ultimate free will. I just loved it. When he said it, I just ran and got a notebook, and I was like, that's it. That the ultimate free will is the ability to call in the divine and say, take over this life, show the actions for the highest expression of this life. It cannot occur without that invitation. So, I just have to say, it even makes me think of that idea that, God trumps the chart. That there's the transits, there's all of this, but once you're doing the kind of very, very deep offering that many people in this forum are learning how to do. I mean, no joke. It's truly happening. Something happens that even transcends the transits. The transits come, and yet you're spontaneously shown the actions to take amidst the transits. It's the only way I can describe it. All right.